visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Hearty welcome to the National Level Virtual FTP on the Art of Teaching. And myself, Dr. Rishmi, and I'm here with the topic E-Content Development for Teaching. So before moving ahead with this presentation, I would just like to share some aspects related to the teaching scenario, as this FTP is titled as the Art of Teaching. So a few years back, the art of teaching was captured around mere lecturing, as well as the role of the teacher was merely an instructor, and the teaching was confined to the four walls of the classroom. But when we look into the present day scenario, we have seen a drastic change in the teaching learning process, and the rapid development in information and communication technology, coupled with methodological and pedagogical tools, enhance the e-content development for teaching. And it is the need of the hour that the teachers or the faculties, they must equip themselves with the knowledge and skills to develop e-content, as we are teaching students belonging to the techno-savvy era, and we should not keep ourselves behind the students' pace or students' knowledge in the this ICT, using ICT skills. So in order to equip ourselves with these content, or to equip ourselves with the ICT prerequisite skills and knowledge, every teachers must have a sound knowledge as how to develop the e-content. And we know that when we integrate e-content with the teaching, definitely we are actually creating a self-paced learning atmosphere for the students, and teachers' role has moved from mere lecturers to facilitators, and we encourage the students to study according to their own pace, on the basis of well-prepared modules using the major tools of ICT. So with this, let us move on with the slide presentation. So these are the key topics covered during the course of my presentation. I would like to define e-content. Then next, I would establish e-content as an effective tool for teaching. We will examine the different types of e-content. And next is the most important phase, that is various steps are involved in the development of e-content. So that those steps need to be taken into consideration. Then the various tips to create e-content. How can we enhance developing e-content? Then creating e-content using various multimedia tools. So various tools help us to develop e-content. So we will look in detail about those e-content tools, and I will be providing you with a sample e-content. Then finally, we will be analyzing the outcomes or the output of e-content development. So what is e-content? E-content, or electronic content or digital content, is actually, it refers to an information produced in an electronic or digital format. So even before we as teachers, we prepare notes and we deliver it to the students in our classroom. But we can we call such a note as an e-content? No, because the content should be delivered in an electronic and digital format, either using your mobile phone or laptop or desktop or any other web resources. Then we can call it as an e-content. And second thing is that it should be delivered on network-based electronic devices. So you can make use of internet or satellite broadcast or mobile technology. So using any of these network-based devices, you can deliver the content. So preparation of the content and delivering of the content comes under the scope of e-content. And the one of the important highlights of the e-content is that it generates an individualized and flexible forms of learning. Each individual or each student can study the content based on his own preference, in the sense that he can watch the video even after the class sessions come to an end, whether at night or in the evening or in the early morning, or whatever time he can watch according to his or her own pace. And as such, it provides a flexible forms of learning. Even as for the teachers, we need to update our e-content, but taking into account or taking into consideration about the limited time constraint of the various activities that we have to face in our college or in the teaching atmosphere, we can use the e-content, already prepared e-content, and we can deliver it to a larger group of audience. So which are the various platforms that help us to deliver e-content? Web-based learning, then computer-based learning. So if we are directly using our content from the web or the internet, then we call it as a web-based learning. And if we are making use of a computer to disseminate this knowledge, then it is called the computer-based learning. And if mobile phones replace the computers in sharing the e-content, then we call it as mobile-based learning. Then we have this virtual classrooms. So virtual classrooms came into prominence during the COVID period, the COVID-19 scenario. And even now, we haven't completely shifted from the virtual classrooms. Even if we don't get enough time to handle the physical sessions or the offline sessions, we are running short of time, definitely we know what is this virtual classroom and how we need to prepare before conducting such a virtual classroom. So virtual classroom is also it also comes under the e-content preparation. Then digital collaboration. If you are trying to collaborate the resources from various sources like web-based or computer-based or mobile-based, then it is a collaboration of these digital resources across the network. That is digital collaboration. So all these different sources come under e-content preparation. It promotes e-content development. So e-content is nowadays treated as an effective tool for teaching. So when does it actually start, or what was the or when was the e-con origin, or what we can, or how we can elaborate about the origin of e-content development? Yes, definitely the development in information and communication technology, then integration of communication and technology in all fields of society, including education. So education is one of the major field of progression. So integrating ICT at all levels of education, right from the primary to the higher education level, and this marks the beginning of e-content as an effective tool for teaching. The educational system has witnessed over the years a drastic change. The learning environment has changed from the traditional face-to-face teaching to the virtual classrooms, and the teachers' roles are no more instructors, but it has been evolved to facilitators. And the teaching, and right now we are teaching in the techno-savvy era, and as such we must prepare validated e-content using our technological as well as the pedagogical skills. Then next, the e-content is also a highly resourceful and potential tool offering the newest methods of education. So with a single e-content, you can bring various resources within either through PPT or through Word document or through any other YouTube videos. You can bring and you can deliver it to not only to your limited audience, but even to the entire world itself. So it is a highly resourceful and potential tool, and it becomes a very effective tool to disseminate information. So it is very important that merely preparing the content is quite different from transmitting the information. So it should be both the things, that is preparation of e-content and the dissemination of e-content should take place simultaneously. And these are the various forms or types of e-content. Regarding the visual forms or visual types, we have the images and graphics, then we have the text. Then it could be in the form of a PDF file or a Word document. Then we have these rich internet applications which makes particularly use of the internet. Then games, educational games are also a source of e-content. Then we have these journals, e-journals, database, then presentations, slides in the form of PPTs. Then we have this audio, video, then simulation and animations, interactives. So these animations, games, etc. are not only meant for the entertainment purpose, they can also be channelized for the educational purposes. Then we have these electronic books like e-journals. We have the electronic books that can be used for developing e-content. Then we have these energized books, the books with QR scan code. So both the virtual reality as well as the augmented reality, everything, these are the different ways and different platforms through which we can develop an e-content. And if you are a beginner if you are a beginner in developing the e-content, you can definitely make use of these various sources. You can derive information from these sources based on your knowledge, expertise, or the area that you want to develop e-content. And how you can choose an area for e-content. First, you have to identify an area. Yes, just like research. If you have already completed the research, I'm sure that many of you might have completed your research, or some might be just you have started your research, or some of you might be planning to do research within a few months or few years. Yes, definitely. How will we begin our research? We need to right in front of us, we have a large variety of topics, and we cannot choose all the topics at the same time. So it is very important that we have to identify an area. So likewise, before preparing any content, you have to identify an area. You have to convert it into an interesting format. So merely identifying an area alone won't be suffice. You have to convert it. You have to take out the valuable points from that area. You have to present it in an interesting format. Definitely it need to be in an engaging and appealing way, because you are going to deliver the content not to the inanimate things or objects. The students as well as other people from the academic circle, they will be going to watch your e-content if it is a video, or they will be going to read your e-content if it is in the form of a text. So it must be highly engaging and appealing to the audience, to the different targeted audience. And interactive teaching, yes, even though we ourselves prepare, the teachers themselves prepare e-content, definitely a good e-content will always carry enough examples, activities and exercises to brainstorm or to think more about the topic. So it should be just like the teaching. The teaching should be in an interactive way, as we used to practice in the real life classroom situations. So for the three major requirements that help us to develop or to choose an area for e-content is the expert knowledge in the subject area. So you must have an expert knowledge in a particular area, and mere having a knowledge is not sufficient. We need to prepare thoroughly. Then finally, we have to add some kind of creativity in structuring and sequencing the topics. Definitely, you must give a previous information or knowledge about the particular area. Then you must give an introduction to the content. Then you must give some examples to elaborate the content. And finally, you have to include as many interesting modules or processes or aspects highly relevant to the content. These are the requirements. And characteristics of a good e-content: it must have a pleasing look. The visuals must be in a pleasing look. So is attractive. That is the gist of this caption. That means it should not be just like you need not be an expert in providing the slide in a most attractive manner, but still the slide should have at least a pleasing outlook. Then it should audience. That is very important. The audience should feel that if your audience is UG students or sometimes PG or research scholars, they must have a feeling that yes, the teacher has prepared the content for targeting us as his or her audience. So there should be an element of connection between the teacher and the audience. It should not be just like that the teacher tries to exhibit his knowledge to some kind of strange audience. Then interactive, the teaching should be in an interactive way, and it should cover all the learning objectives. So we know that at the beginning of the course module, the learning objectives will be clearly stated by the university. So these modules or these learning objectives must be clearly applicable, or it should be clearly applied to your development of e-content. And always try to focus the e-content in a simplified way. Don't make it very complicated. Don't make it very elaborate. Of course, you can explain, but try when you prepare the content, try to focus on the key aspects, areas, key concepts, and at the time of explanation, you can elaborate it. And definitely, the next important thing is time, utilization of time and space. So time and space is very limited. If you're elaborating the slides or elaborating your video to say, for example, more than 10 minutes, the attention span of the students will be very less. So if at all it crosses to 30 or 40 minutes, what you have to do is you have to cut it down in as part 1, part 2, and part 3, so that the students will have a tendency to watch the video until its end. And finally, after developing the good e-content, as teachers or as faculties, we must have a sense of satisfaction that we have developed a satisfying e-content. And these are the important phases or stages in e-content development. And I call this model as ADDIE model, as these letters stands for the various phase. Analysis phase. The first phase is the analysis phase. I will be explaining all these phases in detail. The second is the design phase. The third is the development phase. Fourth is the testing phase. Fifth is the implementation phase, and sixth is the evaluation phase. So a good e-content must go through all these 6 phases before it gets delivered to the audience. So we will begin with the analysis phase or the planning phase. So analysis phase is the planning phase. So we even before teaching in the real life classrooms, we prepare teaching notes, we go through the content twice or thrice, and we have an overall planning that how we are going to deliver the content in the real life classroom. Similarly, the same planning can be applied while preparing the content. So the 2 analyses that you have to taken into consideration include, one is the need analysis and the other is audience analysis. The need analysis refers to why you are preparing this particular content, whether it is included in the syllabus or whether it is an extension of the already available content, or whether it is meant for extra reading. So there should be a need. Maybe you have chosen a complicated concept and you want, through this e-content, you want to break down the complexity. You want to make it as simple as possible. That is why you have chosen a particular e-content. And the audience analysis, the targeted audience. As I said before, whether it includes the undergraduate students or postgraduate students, or the students doing research, that is the scholars, research scholars, that is the audience analysis. So depending upon the audience, you have to make the e-content, you have to prepare the content. And next is the identification of the current status of learners' understanding of knowledge, skills, levels of target audience, and delivery methods. You have to identify, you know that you are interacting or you are preparing this e-content to a set of learners. So you must know the knowledge level of your learner, then the already pre-acquired skills of the learner, then the level of their audience or the learner, and how you are going to deliver these e-content, the delivery method or the platforms that you are going to rely upon. So through this analysis phase, the instructional problem, the problem related to your instruction gets clarity. Then all the instructional goals and objectives are established, and the learning environment is also identified. This is the phase of analysis. And these are the major questions that you must ask during your analysis phase. Who your learners are. What are the overall goals you are trying to achieve? What are the overall knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors that need to be taught? What is the amount and level of the necessary content? What resources are required and what resources are available? Next, we can move on to the design phase or the structuring phase. So after planning or the analysis phase, now we have to provide a structure to our e-content. So here we are going to design it. So an idea has already been chosen in the planning or the analysis phase. Now we are going to include the various modules. We are going to break it into various sub-modules or subtopics. We are going to add several exercises. So the learning, in accordance with the learning objectives, we are going to assist the students by providing exercises, then delivering of contents. Then we are going to plan the lesson. Then we are going to select the media, which media that we are going to rely upon. So the designing of the content, then the division of the chapters and modules, and the platform of delivery get fixed during the design phase, which is also known as the structuring phase or the blueprint phase. So these are the questions frequently asked in the design phase. How will the content and activities be sequenced, presented, and reinforced? Then what are the objectives of each session or unit? What skills or outcomes are you hoping to achieve? What methodology will you use to achieve? Then what media or resources will be used? How will you assess the students' understanding of the matter? And next is the development phase, which is said to be the very crucial phase in the development of e-content. Because in the planning phase, we have a set of plans, and the design phase, we structure those plans in a better format. And it is only in the development phase that we are going to develop the actual e-content. So the actual production or development of the e-content takes place during the development phase. And for this, we make use of several multimedia tools like the text, audio, video, animation, graphics, etc. So you can fix the particular chapter. Based on that, you can prepare a video, record, lecture using the camera or any other devices. You can create and assemble the content that were already blueprinted or that were already structured in the design phase. Now you can create the storyboards, the content is written, the graphics are designed. So too much work takes place in the development phase, because after the development phase, you are trying to set your e-content for testing and other evaluation procedures. So it is during the development phase that you create all kinds of content with the help of multimedia tools. Then you assemble the content using graphics or any other essential requirements. So the questions asked in the development phase include: how do I create a lesson plan? How should the content be organized? What instructor and student activities should be included? How do I provide practice for students? What media should I use when teaching? How can I present conforming and corrective feedback? So by asking these questions, you will definitely get an answer to it as well. So you need to incorporate those answers when you prepare the e-content during the development phase. And next is the testing phase. So before sharing with the students, you need to test either by yourself or with your colleagues or your friends for that matter. So this is the stage where you administer your e-content by checking whether the pictures are having clarity, whether there are, if at all there are any spelling errors, you need to rectify it at the earliest. You have to insert appropriate audios and hyperlinks if necessary for additional understanding. And finally, you have to share with your colleagues or experts in the fields. And next is the implementation phase, which happens to be the fifth phase in the development of e-content. And here you are going to use the content after redesigning and revisioning. So this is actually the implementation. You are going to use the content. So once again, piloting is done to ensure the quality of the content. The final checking, everything takes place during the implementation phase. And now you decide to deliver the content either through the learning management software or through any other platforms for that matter, like Moodle or Google Classroom or Canva, WhatsApp, YouTube. Yes, we have the different platforms available right in front of us, for which we need not have to pay any amount. So you will try to associate with which platform that we need to use. And this during this phase, so sometimes for instance, they take the example of the LMS platform like Moodle, that requires a proper training on the part of the teachers and faculties who haven't yet started to use this platform. So before delivering the content to the content through Moodle or any other platforms which require proper training, yes, such a training session must be given to the students beforehand. How to log in with this Moodle, then how to use or how to check for the e-content resources posted or uploaded by the teachers. So the training of the facilitators as well as the learners should be provided prior to them before delivering the content. Then these are the questions asked in the implementation phase. How do I motivate students? How do I introduce the lesson? What kind of questions are best to use? How do I use the PowerPoint slides or other presentation media? How do I summarize and review each lesson? How do I use my time wisely during the lesson? And then last is the evaluation phase. And during this phase, we need to collect feedback from our learners because they are going to listen it, or even you can collect feedback from your peers or from other instructors. So tested assignments can be posted using Google Forms, Hot Potatoes, and Google Classrooms. So it is based on the performance of the performance on the test for the test and the assignments. We can judge that whether the content has properly reached the targeted audience. So various evaluation objectives reflect that we have set these evaluation objectives in the analysis phase itself, but now it is the time for us to check whether these objectives or whether this content has covered all the objectives and expectations of the learner. So again, there are some questions particularly applicable to the evaluation phase, like how do I know if my course has been successful? Which expert should review the materials before the course is presented to the students? Which changes should be made to improve the course after it is presented? Now, I would like to share some of the best practices of e-content development. So all this while we have seen the 6 different stages of e-content development, and these best practices refer to the ways that you can improve your e-content development. These are not the stages, but the tips that you can follow in order to make your e-content development effectively. First is regarding the creation of visual images, and clarity of image as well as the subject chosen is the foremost thing. The image should have the clarity. So the images without the clarity or the subject not written properly, not typed properly, should be a demotivating factor for the students to go through the content. Then you have to observe the rule of thirds. That is, graphics should not cover the entire slides or your entire text document. You can use the graphics, but it should not be at the center. It should be very lesser compared to the content or the text. Then make sure that there is enough contrast so that the graphic image, it will be clear in the e-content platform. And you have this Canva. We have this Canva color Canva. When you go and search Canva in the Google, you can opt for the various colors, and by clicking on the colors, the background will get changed. You will get the primary as well as the complementary colors, but always try to keep the graphics as simple as possible, because the content is very important. To give an added weightage to the content, we merely use of these graphics, but do not emphasize the graphics to a greater extent. And Pexis.com is a software through which you can search for the topics. You can select the picture, download it for free, and if necessary, the modifications and alterations are also possible. Next is the creation of presentations. That refers to the presentations of PPT, PowerPoint presentations. While preparing the PPT, you have to keep the layout as simple as possible. Overcrowding of words and sentences sentences must be avoided. So you can definitely use the words and sentences, but it should not be just like typing a short paragraph or a short essay. You have to pick out the keywords from the sentences, and you can elaborate it while recording the video or while delivering the key content. So animations must be limited, but definitely you can use audio and video, but it must not dominate the entire presentations. And PPT is an advisable form of presentation, because I think that through the slides we can deliver as much content or as many content as possible, and it is often referred as the king in presentation. Here I would like to introduce a Prezi. It's a kind of software which helps to convert the created PPT to Prezi presentation. If you're not familiar with the good presentation slides, definitely you can go and search for Prezi, where you can search your favorite topic related to your discipline, and there you can see how the contents are coordinated in such a beautiful way. So based on that, you will get an idea how we can also create, or what are the tips that we must follow to create a good e-content. Next, there is a software named Canva software, with which we can create the cinematic visuals, then smarter data visualizations, etc. Then creation of videos. For this, you have to pick a topic. Then you have to choose the format for the content. Then screen can be recorded using screen recorder software. Then you can make a script, write a storyboard, then record using software. Then finally, you can edit. And before hosting, you can review it. Then finally, after reviewing, you can host it on YouTube, Facebook, and distribute to millions of people. Then creation of animation. Yes, animation is the art of making inanimate objects appear to move, and the main purpose of animation is to create the template attractive. There is a software named Animaker. It's a platform for beginners, non-designers, and professionals to create animations. But always make sure that the graphics animations are included in your presentation to the minimum level. The content should be more given emphasis rather than the graphical images or animations. Then blogs is also another form of developing e-content. You can create a blog. Then you can name it. You have to focus on the title. Then always keep the layout of the blog as simple as possible. Then write with originality. Then check before you post. That's very important, because and always try to be updated while you posting. Then you have to be creative. And then you can allow the comments from the audience. Then WordPress is a free website to start blogging. Then creation of podcast is a series of audio files that are hosted online. So the e-content need not be always the visual representation. If you are good at recording the audio, you can definitely go for podcast recording. You can you can prepare the notes. You can underline the key points. Then once you go and start recording through the podcast, you can deliver the content in a with a series of audio file, in the format of audio files. And for this as well, you have to choose the topic, give name for the podcast. Then you have to write the script, rehearse the script, then take the microphone and start recording. And the requirements for a good podcast include good speaking skills, good recording software. So ADDIE is a free software that can be downloaded and export as MP3 file. Then Buzzsprout helps to host, promote, and track your podcast. Then e-content development tools, e-learning authoring tools. So under different headings, I have provided you with various tools. Then you can search all such tools by yourself. Articulate, Adobe, Captivate, and iSpring. Then if you want to create quiz, then you can go for Quizlet and Socrates. Then there are some learning platforms like Moodle, Edmodo, Coursera, Blackboard, Learn. Then educational tools like TED Talks and VoiceThread. Then photo tools like Adobe Photoshop, Flickr, audio tools like Audacity, video tools like YouTube and Vimeo, animation tools like Animoto, Woki, Powtoon, and Render Forest. Then screen capture tools, as well as we have the video editing tools. So like Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, FreeCam. Using the Screencastify, you can record for 5 minutes. So it allows for 5 minutes free recording. And coming to the communication tools, we have the messaging tools like Skype and WhatsApp, webinar and web meetings like WebEx, GoToMeeting, then survey tools like Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, then MCQ like Kahoot and Mentimeter. Networking tools, which most of us are much familiar, public social networks. We have this Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, then private social networking platforms like Yammer, Edmodo, Link. And here, I'm going to provide you with a sample framework of an e-content. As I'm from this literature field, I have chosen a topic suitable to literature. I will just show how I have prepared any content based on this particular topic. Yes. So first of all, I have literature is a vast realm, and I have chosen travel literature as my topic. I have narrowed down the topic. You have to think about the different phases that I have mentioned. I have fixed a topic. Then, yes, it's about definitely the image that you displayed over here is definitely related to travel by air. Yes, the travel bag again becomes the iconic symbol of travel. Yes. So here we could see the first phase. Hope you remember, this is the analysis phase, and there I have the two analysis. I have emphasized two analysis. One is the need analysis, and the second one is target analysis. What is the need analysis for me? That the topic travel literature is a less explored one, and that is why, and that prompted me to take this topic. It is more impactful, and it is a promising area open for further research. And my target analysis is PG students. And the next is a design phase. So here I'm going to prepare a lesson plan where I will define the travel literature. I will go through, I know that travel literature is not a very recent phenomenon. So I will trace the history of travel literature here. I will particularly point out the types of travel writing, then the readership of travel literature, the major readers of travel literature, and the media selection should also be completed during the design phase. And here I am making use of PowerPoint as my media. And the development of the content. For this, I need to assemble and create the content topic wise and finalize the slide count. I need to add the images and animation. Then afterwards, I need to check. So I check by sending it to my colleagues. Then I will rectify the mistakes if at all there is related to the grammar, spelling, or anything else. Then I'm going to implement or the delivery. For this, I need to introduce myself. So whichever content you prepare, just give a self-introduction about you. Then you have to acknowledge the host or the organizers. You can mention about the affiliation to your institution, and you have to deliver the content and give time for question and answers. And final stage is the evaluation stage, where you are going for a self-analysis. You are taking the students for a self-analysis. So for this, you are going to provide them with feedback. Then you are going to share answers to questions which were not completed during the delivery. And these are the outcomes of e-content development. The creation of a good e-content definitely brings forth an information-rich society through the mastering of ICT skills. So the information rich society, or the information pedagogy based pedagogy and methodology is the main important outcome of e-content development. And now we are witnessing a digital teaching, because we are teaching a digital generation. So digital teaching is very appropriate in the context of a digital generation. So the new concepts like flipped classrooms, then MOOCs and hybrid learning are the other areas with which we can impart this e-content development. Then learning at the self-pace, that's also very important. The teachers need not be always behind the students to making them forcefully making them to learn and study. They can learn by finding their own appropriate time, then updated and quick delivery of content. Yes, so at the same time you can deliver this content to as many students as possible, and always make sure as teachers we must do update our slides or update our e-content with the relevant aspects. So it is very learner friendly and very learner centric as well. And at the conclusion, I must say that e-content development is right now at the heart of teaching learning process. So teaching learning process cannot think about or cannot isolate e-content development. E-content has become the part and parcel of teaching learning process, and it fosters e-learning in a very dynamic and innovative way. Yes, the newness in teaching learning has been provided by this e-content or e-learning, and it is very environment friendly because we are preparing the various forms of e-content, not using the paper but using the slides, using the Word documents, using the PDF files. We are making reference, and so it's a kind of environment friendly. It is creating an environment friendly atmosphere. It is an environmentally friendly way of teaching as well. And finally, it always supports inclusive education. Inclusive education means that the education that brings together all people belonging to different segments without any discrimination. So it's not just like that you are sharing this content to one group of set of students or the other. Here we are incorporating as many students as possible, and it is moving with the motto of inclusive education. So thank you. That's all about my presentation. Thank you.